The most beloved Vol of all time is whom?
Football speaking, right? Just football?
Yes, footballs. And I want your suggestions from the message board, as I'm going to make that a poll question. I hadn't exactly thought of that, but here we go.
I think it is Peyton Manning. I mean, I think it's Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Not my most beloved Vol, but I think the most beloved.
What is your most beloved Vol?
Yeah, mine is. I hate to go here because I know where you're leading with this, but mine is Al Wilson.
Okay. Why Al Wilson?
Because Al Wilson was the leader that Tennessee needed in 1998. And not only was he a leader, but he stepped up in the big moments. And to this day, 25 years later, still had the greatest defensive performance in a single game in the history of Tennessee football.
Okay. We got some votes for Johnny Majors and Peyton Manning. So right now, the choices are, oh, I like that, Derek. So here's what I'm going to do. The choices are, what is your favorite Vol of all time? So I'm going to put General Neyland on there, along with Johnny Majors, Peyton Manning, and Al Wilson. So go ahead and vote. We would love to see what you have to say. Al Wilson talks to the Vols, and one person in particular, who happens to be from Smyrna, took umbrage in what the former Tennessee linebacker from Jackson had to say. And that was one Arion Carter said it was great to meet Al Wilson, said it was huge. He was like a legend. That was very refreshing to me, Caleb, because I sometimes wonder if players that see older players think, no big deal. But he was genuinely taken aback, and I thought that was pretty strong. I want to talk more about Arion Carter, but first.
Well, Dave, let's just correct something real quick. So he didn't take umbrage with. I'm sorry to be the grammar police, but you have me thinking that he was upset by Al Wilson.
Oh, okay. I missed umbraged. I'm umbraged with myself. Go ahead.
Take umbrage means to be upset or offended by.
Okay, sorry.
So you had another breaking news story dropping right there. Like, oh my gosh, Tennessee linebacker upset with Al Wilson.
No. Sorry. I used the wrong word. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'll let you finish. That's all. I know you were diving in.
No, just what is your favorite Vol of all time right now? Al Wilson, Peyton Manning, Johnny Majors, General Neyland. So Al Wilson, 44% of the vote, 38% of the vote. Johnny Majors, 12% of the vote. General Neyland gets 6% of the vote. Let's talk about Tennessee's linebackers for a second. Can you expect any of them to be even close to Al Wilson, the player? Not everything, not the leader, but the player. Can you get that kind of production from either a Keenan Pili, who would play Mike? He would be the natural one to point to because that's what Al played. Or Arion Carter, who would play outside, who's going to be more of a havoc guy. Al created havoc, but he played between the tackles too. Caleb, can either one of these guys approach that?
No. Al Wilson, if Al Wilson didn't have a neck injury, would have been a Hall of Fame linebacker in the NFL. Dave, not counting Peyton Manning, you can call me crazy on this. Not counting Peyton Manning, if I have a draft tomorrow and I have to use my first pick on a former Tennessee player, I'm taking Al Wilson.
Wow.
Who else would you? Maybe Reggie White, but Al Wilson. If it was not for Ray Lewis being in the same conference as him, he'd have been the best linebacker in the NFL. Dude was a 5-time Pro Bowler in 9 years.
Well, you're sharing some stuff with me that I didn't know because I was in the midst of, covering recruiting and all that stuff. My Sundays were spent calling 17-year-old kids. So no, I didn't know he was that good. I knew he was very, very good. I didn't know you had him that high, and I respect your opinion.
Hall of Fame caliber player, if it not for the neck injury.
I think a lot of people have him painted as a great leader who was a good player.
Yeah, that's just not factually borne out. And you could say this. You could maybe say in the 98 season, his leadership propelled him to All-American status because he missed some games in 98 because of an injury.
He was hurt against Auburn, yes.
He was. But, he had the greatest performance in history by a defender in Tennessee football history. You will never, ever, ever again see somebody do what he did against Florida in 98. That was incredible.
Talking about Tennessee's linebackers, here's how Keenan Pili's different. He's a little bit bigger. I think he's going to be more of a tackle guy. I don't like his lateral nearly as much as Al Wilson, but I think he'll be fine between the tackles, maybe as good as Al Wilson, although I would take Al Wilson stripping the ball from anybody over any other defender that I've ever seen. And as far as Arion Carter, don't compare those two. I would tell you as a Tennessee fan, compare him and let's say Raynoch Thompson, a guy who flies around with reckless abandon, that type of player. Compare him to him because Arion Carter is not a between the tackles type of linebacker.
No, not at all. Not at all. And remember this, guys. This was actually how Tennessee finally figured out Florida and Spurrier's offense. And you know this, Dave. 98, Al Wilson was an outside linebacker for most of his career. He chose to come back for his senior season for 98 to help his NFL draft stock, and the coaches threw a curveball at him and moved him to middle linebacker. One of the best things ever done, right? Was moving to Al Wilson to middle linebacker.
No question.
That was the first time they really went for speed over size at middle linebacker. And Al Wilson was a massive problem for Florida that year with the not just the fumbles. Al Wilson, you just brought it up. One of his forced fumbles was deep in the secondary on a first down catch. I mean, the guy, he had a first down forced fumble, he had a sack forced fumble, and then he stripped oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name, the running back for Florida, Terry Jackson, was that his name? That he stripped on the goal line. I mean, Al Wilson forced a fumble 3 different ways and then called his own audible and went on a blitz to go back and look at a second down play in overtime with Florida. Florida could go for the win with the touchdown. The touchdown is there. The receiver's there. But Al Wilson bursts through the line and knocks, I think, Doug Johnson on his back before he can get rid of the ball. Yep. Or before he can throw it down. I mean, Al Wilson, I think you're right. His leadership, it's almost unfortunate. His leadership overtakes his greatness because Al Wilson is one of take the leadership aside. There's not a linebacker in Tennessee history that's close to Al Wilson in terms of greatness. And there are very few players that are as close to Al Wilson in terms of greatness. He is on the level of Reggie White and on the level of Peyton Manning in terms of great Tennessee players at their positions. People talk more about Deion Grant, the free safety, during that time because of his interceptions. Sean Ellis. There is nobody I'm taking over Al Wilson. This is why, Dave, this is why I push back on you and Fred. The 99 team was not better than the 98 team because the 99 team didn't have Al Wilson.
Fair. I heard a rumor from a source that there's a hard push to get Deion Grant in the College Football Hall of Fame.
How's he not?
It's really difficult to get in that one. That's the most difficult one. Al just got in like last year.
That is true. He did just get in.
It is incredibly hard. Unlike the basketball Hall of Fame takes into account college, it's much easier to get into. But I mean, nobody works like Al Wilson, except for maybe work trucks. They're all about trucks that actually are available, like Al was, trucks that help you maximize your profits by having the right work vehicle. Time is money. The perfect work vehicle doesn't break down and has all the space to carry what you need. You can't do those back and forth. They're intent on making sure you have what the dealerships can't get you right now. Work Truck saves you time. The process is quick and easy when choosing a vehicle from Work Trucks. They've got the Knapheide work bodies installed, pickup trucks. They can do dump trucks, cranes as well. No dealership runaround. Work Trucks, downtown Birmingham. Work Trucks with an X, downtown Birmingham, and on Clinton Highway in Knoxville. Work Trucks with an X, LLC.com. Check them out online. You can order your truck online and have it delivered. Work Trucks, LLC.com. Proud supporters of the Tennessee Vols, and we certainly thank Work Trucks for their support. Caleb, that being said, you and I were one of the first, and we ended up looking wrong, and that's fine, but we weren't wrong. One of the first to say Arion Carter is going to be a superstar. We just didn't know that he had gotten hurt at the time. He is going to be a very, very good player. I'm not going to say he's quite on the level of a James Banks, but he's the level just down below that.
Yes, I agree. Arion Carter is exactly what we're expecting. He was the hype player last year that Boo Carter is this year, but he's got a year of experience under his belt because he was able to sit behind Aaron Beasley and kind of learn the ropes. Arion Carter is going to be the breakout player. The hype behind him reminds me of the hype behind. What about this comparison? Because Raynoch Thompson goes way far back. What about Rico McCoy?
I think Arion Carter will be better than Rico McCoy, but I think it's a good comparison.
Okay, so a better version of Rico McCoy. I could get
Yes.
down with that. Maybe even another one, fully healthy Kevin Simon.
More of a middle guy than Carter, who I think of as more of an outside guy. You?
Okay. Well, I'm thinking younger Kevin Simon when Kevin Burnett played in the middle.
Yeah, that was possible. It seemed like they had a lot of outside linebackers that first year. Burnett was more of an outside guy, I thought, naturally. Anyway.